All right, welcome to the Rich CELENZA show. WTF are you talking about? So today what I want to get into is the law of attraction, because for years I studied that. Obviously it started with the book The Secret, or the movie. I don't know, my buddy, I don't know how many years ago it was, 12, whatever the hell it was a long time ago. He introduced me to it, and just like everybody else, I loved it. I still do. I'm still down with that. And I loved all the people in The Secret. Still, I've studied them, read their books, listened to thousands of hours of videos on them from Proctor, Vitale, Canfield, Asraf. I feel horrible what happened to James Arthur Ray, whatever happened with him, and DeBartini, and all these dudes. I mean, if you've seen The Secret or you've read the book, they're quoted in there. There's tons of guys. Obviously, even Tony Robbins would fall in these type of categories to a certain degree, and these guys. And after really being kind of obsessed with that for so many years, I almost exhausted myself on that. Wanting to always believe in all these different theories that if you do this, that'll happen. If I believe in this, that'll happen, to kind of all this stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to get into what obviously the law of attraction and everything is, because everybody, I believe, has their own perspective on it. But what I learned more than anything, and you hear it in The Secret, and you hear it in all the different types of videos or books, is it takes action. And the reality is that's truly what it is. If you take action, shit happens. All right? But the bottom fucking line to any of this is, you have to believe in yourself, right? If you do not believe in yourself, nothing is going to most likely ever happen to you. And that's why I created the Mastering Self-Confidence programs that I'm doing. I'm doing for men wanting to pick up the woman, or finding the woman of their dreams. I'm doing one for the modeling. I'm going to be doing one for fitness. But if you don't master your self-confidence, because I don't care if I laid in bed all day and thought about winning the lottery, and I may play the lottery. I may win. I'm not going to say that. But your odds of that are probably like a plane landing on your house. They're probably the statistics or the odds. Again, not saying that there are people out there that wish that upon themselves, believe that that's going to happen, and it does end up happening. But that's, I think, a lot of times a numbers game. So if 20 million people read The Secret, and somebody wins the lotto and says, or lottery, or whatever, either one or the other, and wins, says, I won that because of the lottery. Which may happen, but the truth is, if you don't believe in yourself, right, nothing is going to happen. It starts with you first believing in in yourself, and then you immediately taking action or putting in. I actually do things very slowly, but I found out, as far as the law of attraction goes with me, is I really had to figure out, and I don't think most people have this figured out, what they really want and what they don't like. A lot of people want a lot of money. There's no question about that. Some people get it and some don't. But for the most part, a lot of people don't even know what to do with money. They really don't know how to spend. I mean, they may think they know how to spend money. Like they say, a lot of people that even win the lottery are in more debt after they win, because they end up spending all their money or get hit with taxes. They buy things they can't afford in the long term. They lose everything, which sounds crazy, but it's the truth. But a lot of things you got to figure out in your life, for the most part, at the beginning. Of course, money is going to solve a lot of problems, I think. There's no question about that. If you gave somebody multi-millions of dollars, it's going to solve some of their problems. But for the most part, not all of their problems. But who you are, how you believe in yourself, how you look at yourself, what actually makes you happy is really what I believe the law of attraction is about. Because if you can't make yourself happy, you don't have the confidence to make yourself happy, or start doing the things you want to do, and stop putting yourself in a prison, I call it, and not being able to break out of the prison to do the things you want to do. Something in your life happened, I think, a lot of times, and this goes for most of us, where we started setting up barriers, or we started doing things where it kind of locked us down. I call them throwing out anchors. And a lot of times we're throwing out anchors, and we're almost self-sabotaging ourselves to a certain degree, because we've either been programmed to say, hey, if we don't do this, we don't believe in this, if we don't go about life this way, then we're not going to end up like this. But the reality is, and this I'll just use for example, say marriage. Most of us are programmed to, start finding someone at a certain age, getting engaged at a certain age, start getting married at a certain age, have kids at a certain age, and be a grandparent at a certain age, whatever. If you have one kid, they want you to have two. If you have a boy, they say have a girl. If you have a girl, you should have a boy. If you have two boys, you still want to go for whatever it is. There's all these different programming things that are going. But the thing is, you think, and I think, like a lot of us, that in the future, if you keep getting these things, it'll make you happier. But a lot of us know at the beginning stages of our life or during the, like, is it really for us? And a lot of times it isn't. Maybe even getting married is not for you, right? But a lot of times we're programmed to say, wow, but if I don't do that, I won't be happy. But you do get married and then you're unhappy because you really knew you weren't going to be happy. I'm just using this for an example. So what I think most people need to realize, I think about The Secret, is to reprogram yourself for the law of attraction. Because don't worry about things coming into your life all the time that you're attracted to. You need to go out and attract yourself to those things. It's kind of a reverse kind of mechanism, right? So if I'm attracted to the beach, I don't wait for the beach to come to me, or I don't wait for someone to, I hope that I get a house on the beach, hypothetically, or if I do this or that, it will get me to the beach. Get to the beach, right? Get in your car, go to the beach. If you live in the Midwest and you really want to be near a beach, you can find places in the country where you can find a job probably the same, maybe even better than what you're doing. Now, if you're in a practice and you're a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, obviously it's more complicated. But a lot of us, for the most part, you can go to where you want to be. You just got to have, again, the confidence to do that. Don't wait for something to constantly be attracted or have a sign or a signal. You don't need a feather to fall out of the, if you're, oh my God, if this happens, then I know this. You don't need all these signs. And you don't always need to think that people are going to make you happier, or what they did in their life will make you happy because they were miserable. So a lot of parents you thought were having a great time raising kids, right? Or a lot of grandparents, they love doing this. The truth is, behind closed doors, a lot of them weren't that happy. You thought they were, so you thought if I did this, that would make me happy, right? That's how I kind of think. And then you get into it and you're like, well, that really wasn't that fun like I thought it was going to be, but they made it look fun, or I thought that's what you're supposed to do. No, you know what you want to do. You know where you want to go. You know who you want to be with and who you want to hang around with, right? Now, again, if you want to be a celebrity, hypothetically, or I want to be in the movie business, like I wanted to be at one time, you have to understand, like people think, oh, I want to be the next Tom Cruise, or I want to be the next Meryl Streep. I don't know what you want to be, but be realistic, all right, too. You can probably aim for certain things like that, but again, the odds of you becoming Tom Cruise or Meryl Streep are probably, again, in the billions, okay? But that doesn't mean you can't go out and try to be the best actor or actress you can be, or start putting the truth is, start attracting yourself to the people that are doing what you like to do. I learned that with my uncle because I was always gambling illegally and legally all over the country. I kind of had everything I wanted, except I wanted to make movies. I wasn't doing that. And my uncle said to me, you never are around anybody who makes movies. You talk about movies all day, but all you are around guys that are very similar to you. You guys eat in restaurants, you travel around, you gamble, you're in Vegas, you're in California, you're in Chicago, you're in Atlantic City. If you really wanted to make movies, wouldn't you get around people who make movies? And that is the truth. Why wasn't I doing that? Now, that's the other thing about The Secret is, do we really know what our wants are and what we don't want? I don't think a lot of times we do. We're looking at something from a distance saying, if I had his life, that would be perfect. But the truth is, you have no idea what their life's about because you don't know who they are. You know them through a television screen, let's say, or it could be a business person you look up to, or it could be even somebody locally that you work with that's the president of your company. I don't know what it is, but I can assure you that a lot of times you wanting to be that type of person or be that person probably isn't who you really want to be. Because let's just take maybe you work for a company and you want to be the CEO of this company, which is wonderful if that's what you want. But you may be looking at, and he makes millions of dollars, and he lives in a mansion, and he may have a beautiful wife, or if you're a woman, he has beautiful, whatever it is. But when you really get down to it, do you really want the stress attached to what he goes through, maybe? Do you also want to go through all the things he went through to get there? Right? Are you really maybe as intelligent as he is to a certain degree? I mean, he may have qualities you don't have, and vice versa. And again, that's what I think when you get back to the law of attraction is finding out who you are and not just worrying about like obviously what you're going to be attracting, but you have to make yourself also the component to attract to what you want, if that makes sense. Reverse it, spin it around. You want something, start going after it. And that doesn't mean quickly either. I think people, when they read these books or the law of attraction and all these things, think, and it does some things, they're like, oh, it'll start happening very quickly and you'll see this, this, this. Yeah, you do see signs, I think. Because at the beginning, it's just like anything else. You weren't aware, right? So, of course, now you're becoming more aware, which is wonderful. But if you take the right steps to consistently to go towards what you want to go toward, you are going to get there. You got to really be kind of the turtle, I say, and the race, not the rabbit, a little bit. Because when it comes to me, I can just say for whatever I want to accomplish, I can assure you I will accomplish it eventually. Now, if I said I want to be a billionaire, like a lot of people want to say, do I truly want that? I mean, people want a lot of money. Would I want to be in a situation where my family has to maybe always be in a situation where you become really ultra famous? Your kids could be kidnapped. You could be kidnapped. You're under a microscope a lot of times. It comes with a lot of baggage. And I'm not saying it's bad. But truthfully, think about who you are and what you really want. For the most part, I think most people just genuinely want a great life. Most of them want to be in a relationship where they're loved and wanted. They want to be in an area, so if they love snow skiing, they want to be able to snow ski all the time. If they love warm weather, obviously, if you love warm weather, California, Florida, Arizona, you have other places as well you can live in. A lot of this stuff isn't rocket science, but for some reason, a lot of people put themselves again in the prison. They think either I can never leave this job because I got to put my 20, 30 years in. I can't leave my family. I can't leave. I can't change. If you can't change, then how's anything regarding the law of attraction going to work for you? You think it's like if you live in the Midwest and you want to be near the beach is going to flow into you? Or do you think Lake Michigan is a beach? That's probably not what you mean by a beach. But how does that even work, right? That doesn't make sense, right? Or think you want to be somebody in technology, you want to start getting into technology. And you're in an area where nothing is going on regarding technology. Technology, again, thinking about the law of attraction, I'm not saying you can't learn online and things, but you're going to have to learn to network, and you're going to need to find mentors to help you do that, and you're going to need to get around people who are doing that successfully. Common sense again, all right? That doesn't take years of college to figure out, okay? You don't have to be brilliant. And a lot of times what I think, too, gets caught up, and I get caught up in this, too, sometimes is you don't have to be exceptionally brilliant to be around exceptionally smart people or great people, or think that you got to be always all these degrees or all these things in life for you to prosper. And I think a lot of that's insecurities. You kind of probably, for the most part, are extremely intelligent in a lot of things. Probably 99.9% about a lot of things that I don't know, and I probably know a lot of things that you don't know. Right? I mean, but don't get caught up in what you don't know. Really focus in on what you do know. Because usually what you do know, a lot of things about yourself especially, are things you really want to go after. But a lot of times we suppress them, or we get scared and we're afraid to go after them. And I think that goes for a lot of people. And again, we want to do it very quickly. We only see A to B. We don't see, obviously, B to Y. Okay? It does take time to get what you want and figure those things out. But again, it's putting yourself in the right place at the right time consistently so that happens. We don't want to be in a situation where we're taking 2 steps forward and 3 back, or 2 forward, 1 back, 1 forward, 2 back, or going sideways, or whatever I like to say. Again, back to the law of attraction, like attracts like. You constantly hear that. You have to first definitely like something. And I mean really like it to want to achieve it. It's about achieving things. It's not something just coming out of the air and you being I think a lot of people they bullshit themselves. Like, this may happen now that I believe this. And if this happens, and I just met this person, wonderful, and this happens, and this. That's great stuff. But I have a saying, do what you want with who you want, when you want. That may not always be the case. You can't do that constantly. But keep that in mind. Okay? If you keep doing things you want to do, things are going to start happening for you. If you're constantly being restricted from doing things you want to do, most likely nothing is going to happen to you. The only one who is going to most likely give you what you need is yourself. There's no other way. Nobody else is you. And also, depending on the mood you are in your life, or what position you are in your life, you may change your mind on a drop of a dime. This week, you may want to be a stockbroker. And then after getting involved in 2 months, you may be like, God, I hate that. I may want to become, I don't know, an insurance salesman. You may test that and be like, I don't like that. My point being is be open-minded too, to go after things that you think you might be attracted to, obviously. But be open-minded and say, you know what, this isn't working for me. That's what I really think a lot of the law of attraction didn't cover, is learning to change your path. Because it sounds like there's only one path a lot of times for you. And that's, if I think about the things that I want, I'm going to get them. But things change, right? One minute you may want to get engaged and you find somebody is cheating on you. You still want to get engaged, but now that may not be with that person, so the whole dynamic of your life may change, right? Now you may like, I want to get engaged again, but maybe not for 5 years. So what you wanted has changed. And be open-minded about that, because a lot of times things are happening in your life that look bad, that you're actually dodging a bullet. And I don't mean just in relationships. I just mean in general life. But a lot of people take a horrific event or something bad that happens and let that anchor carry with them for the rest, like for years and years and years. Cut the anchor, throw it overboard, or just let it go. You've got to learn to do that for, I think, the law of attraction to really work. And you really got to be willing to help others. But also learn that, and I'm not telling you to be selfish, I talk about this all the time, it's not about being selfish. It's about, if again, you knowing your needs, and I used this before in a podcast, and it's about like if you're in an airplane and the oxygen masks come down and it says, hey, you have to help yourself before you can help your children or anybody else. That's not saying to be selfish regarding you're going to live and you don't care if they get their masks. Of course, the first thing you're going to want to do is put your mask on and help them. Most likely, as an instinct, you want to help them first. But a lot of times, you're the responsible one, and they're holding you accountable to help everyone else. For them to do that, you have to take the mask first and get oxygen. That's how you got to kind of look at the law of attraction. You need that oxygen coming at you. You need to take care of yourself. And at the same time, then you'll be able to take care of other people. A lot of us also with the law of attraction, I think, we don't realize we're always being distracted by everyone else. And how can we attract what we want or go after the things we want when we're constantly worrying about what everybody else's needs are? So you're actually, with the law of attraction, you're actually giving them what they want a lot of times. So they want to attract, it could be whatever, and you keep giving it to them. And that could be your kids, your siblings, your work colleagues. I need this, I want this, I want this. And you keep giving it to them, and guess what? You have nothing. Are they reciprocating? Some do, some don't. But you need to start getting in relationships and figuring out where you want to help others and they're also helping you. That's really what the law of attraction is. It's kind of about karma coming back and forth to you. Because what you want is out there. Obviously, they talk about that all the time. It's not like, I mean, maybe you want to live on the moon and maybe there's no house there and you want something really unrealistic or something crazy. But for the most part, they talk about it. Most of the things out there are really, that you want are out there or someone has them. And a lot of them, I can assure you, are probably not more intelligent than you, like they say, or a lot of them weren't in a better situation originally than you were. Some were probably in a worse situation, but they kind of knew what they wanted, and they knew how to figure it out. But I think a lot of times those people knew the trick, which is if you're helping others, they're going to help you. That could be mentoring, consulting, whatever it is, right? You're surrounding yourself with the people that are either doing what you're doing or know how to help you do that. And you know what? Sometimes the truth is it does cost money to do these type of things. You know, you may have to spend money on seminars if that's what you want to do. You want to read books and figure out how to do this. So things aren't always going to be free or cheap, right? To learn a lot of things. But then again, you don't have to necessarily figure out or say, I have to go to 4 or 8 years of college to figure out what I truly want, or get around a lot of people that may be doing what you're doing. If you want to do real estate, you know as well as I do, you can go take a real estate course. I think it's a week. And then you have post-licensing. And you want to be a mortgage broker, I think that's a few days. I'm just using those for examples because a lot of people that are multimillionaires in real estate selling it, or even some become billionaires, they didn't have 4 years of college, or they don't have a PhD, or they don't have a lot of things either. They just have what they wanted. And again, you need to figure out if that's truly what you want, then go after it. Action is really everything. But knowing what the hell you want to take action with is the core of it. And just be kind of smart and not be a dumbass. So many of us do so many stupid fucking things that set us back. It could be as simple as a DUI, and I see this happens all the time, and I'm not saying, who knows if I ever get a DUI. But most of my friends I know got a DUI, and it literally set them back years. Especially the ones that didn't have money to begin with, or some with work-related things. It's just something very small, or they got arrested for domestic violence or abuse or whatever, and they weren't even, and then they regretted it. It could have just been an argument. These are game changers, or they just went out and cheated, hypothetically, and they ended up in a divorce, and it spirals. Really think about what you're doing a lot of times, really, because the small things a lot of times what destroys our life. It's not just the big things. And I always say you're always one fuck up from like making your life misery. You can make one wrong move, you can end up in jail for the rest of your life. You could get in a car and kill somebody, even testing drugs. You know what? Just quit ruining your life a lot of times. And again, I think it's sabotaging. Now, I'm not telling you not to have a drink. I don't care if you do, smoke marijuana or whatever you want to do. Just be smart about when going about it. There's obviously a consequence to anything we do in our life. If you go to the gym, there's a consequence. Usually it hopefully makes you healthier. If you get drunk and get behind a car, the wheel, and start driving, and you're really intoxicated, it's usually you, not always, but you're maybe going to get a DUI. You can hit somebody, you could kill somebody walking, whatever the case may be. There's good and bad consequences. With the law of attraction, try to make every consequence a good one. No one's perfect, though. Don't beat yourself up if you make bad decisions. But depending on that decision, how bad it was, affects your life. If you start making really good decisions, again, I think that's the law of attraction. Just kind of you can start building momentum that way, and then you figure out what you want. So I can go on forever regarding some of this stuff, but I just want to get into that today. So if you really do like the law of attraction like I do, still do. Who else did I forget in the law of attraction that I like? Abraham, she's cool. Joe Vitale, did I even mention him? He's a really silly guy. But if you never saw The Secret, it's cool. It's worth, there's tons of books out there. And then there's The Power. There's all different stuff. But I always think it's positive. On a positive thing, just after everything is said and done, regardless, I think the main message of The Secret is really be the best you can be. I really think that's what it comes down to, because if you're happy with who you are and you're being the best you can be, all that's usually going to happen for the most part. Bad things do happen to people all the time. I'm not going to say they don't. But if you continuously, take care of yourself and take care of others, good things are always, I think, going to go your way. And it's just positivity. Anything, I think, more positive than negative is going to be better, way better in your life. And again, if you don't succeed at the huge goal you're going after, it's usually the journey along the way is the thing you learn the most from. When I look back at making my movies or even writing my books or whatever I'm trying to accomplish, the journey along the way was what ended up meaning the most to me. It wasn't, when it was done, it was kind of over. And I don't know if you've ever created something like that, or if you create music, or you're creative just in general, even making a painting. The painting's done and it's wonderful, and you may give it to somebody or sell it. But it was while you were drawing the painting, like the fantasy or like how you felt doing it, and all the time it took, and what you thought about, and discussing it. That's what really life's about, I think. And that's also a part of the law of attraction. It's, it's the voyage, it's the trip you're taking. I met so many incredible people making a movie, and I learned so much. And I always thought I wanted to make a movie so I can make another movie, to make another movie, to make a ton of money, to make this movie. After I got into it, I was like, you know what? Am I making movies for the purpose of showing off, or is it to show my parents that I can make movies, or show my friends, colleagues, or to impress people, or did I just want to tell my story? But when I got down to it, I just loved creating with other people this art form. So that was amazing for me. So just something to think about, again, is the voyage, right? It's what you're going through in your life. So I wish you the best. Again, this is Rich CELENZA on the Rich CELENZA show. WTF are you talking about? Take care.